Hey guys, what's up? I bet these are way burnt. Damn it. That's crispy. What's up, guys? Today, we are putting wheels and tires on my OBS Ford. It smells like tires in here. So what we have here is some Falken WildPeak AT4s and some Method 319s? Yeah, Method 319s. Pretty sure that's right. Oh, they're nice. And those are gonna be going on my OBS Ford Henry. Kind of leaning towards two directions with him, and it might end up being a combination of both because I like the overland stuff, especially like doing an OBS Ford overland. That's a super cool concept to me, but I'm also kind of inspired by like the Cali desert trucks. So we'll see where we end up with this one, but for now, wheels and tires going on right here. We'll get them loaded up. These are not light. I went with the Falken WildPeaks because I've got them on my Jeep and I love them. They're a great road tire, but also a great all-terrain tire. And we're going up a couple sizes because these, I think what I have on here from the factory is 265/70 15s, and we're going to a 285/70 17. So it's almost a 33-inch tire. There is no lift on this truck. From what I read online, it might fit. We'll just have to see. But that's why I'm gonna go get them mounted up so I can get them test fitted. Do you see that? Do you see that? Even with this narrow bed, because it's a flare side, these fit perfectly. Perfectly, just 4 wide. It's a sign they're gonna work. Woo! I'm gonna have to get a picture of that. We need one for the gram here. Yes. All right, it's the next day. We just came back to pick up the wheels and tires, so got them loaded up. Test fit time. All right, so we just got back to the house with the wheels and tires mounted. Personally, I think they look awesome, and they're super heavy. There's only one more thing that we've got to figure out, and that is if they're actually going to fit. And the first challenge of that is these center caps. So Method doesn't actually make center caps that will fit over the hubs for these older F150s. As you can see, they're quite sticky outy. The factory ones have these little caps, but I cannot reuse these with the Method wheels, so it's just gonna be kind of this awkward thing that sticks out. I'm considering maybe painting them just to kind of blend them in a little bit more, but we'll have to see how it looks, how it feels, how I feel about them. We'll just have to test fit and go from there. The plan that I've got right now to kind of fill the gap that's going to be between where the wheel stops and the hub begins, because there is probably about a ½ inch gap there. I can't use these center caps anyway. I've got a hole saw that's about the diameter of my hubs, so I'm gonna just try cutting a hole right in the center of that, so that way I've got a little ring that kind of fills that gap, and we'll see how that looks. They look so good. The other things that I got to go along with those wheels are lug nuts. These are West Coast wheel accessories, but they are available on Method's site, so I just bought them when I bought the wheels. Fit the wheels well. Just some black keyed lug nuts. Method valve stem covers, and this part's very important, some Hub-centric centering rings. I just got these online from a company called Easy Accessory. These are just what make it so that your wheels sit center on the hubs. Because the hub on the truck is a little bit smaller diameter than the center hole in the wheels, you need to have something in there to make sure that that gets lined up correctly and that it's not sitting a little bit askew. Doesn't really matter too much if you get cheap ones. They're just little plastic rings that center it. Really the lug nuts are what hold the wheel on. This is not really structural. This is just to make sure it gets lined up correctly when the wheels go on. So this will fit inside the wheel, and then this part will fit perfectly over the hub to make sure that they're centered. These also come in a bunch of different sizes, so make sure you get the right one. The hole in the center of the wheels is 108 millimeters. That's easy to find on the specs for the wheels on Method's site. The hub on the truck is 87.1. So there's a bit of a difference there, and that's where this thickness comes in. The outside diameter where the wheel will sit is 108. The inside is 87. So I also got this. This is just a cheap Amazon hole saw kit. Don't typically need a hole saw too often, so I didn't really splurge on this, but I just need to find one that's gonna fit over the hub well. Like I just said, the hub is 87 millimeters. This hole saw that I've got right here is, I don't know if you can see that, 89. It's as close as I could get. So in theory, this should fit. Oh, that's pretty nice right there. So if I use this hole saw on the center caps for the wheels, should have something that'll work. So just doing a quick test fit. I don't really like how this turned out. There's still a lot of play. I mean, maybe if I filed it down or something, it would look a little bit better, but I don't know if it's really worth it to do this. We're gonna just see how it looks without the center caps, and we'll go from there. Maybe I can figure something else out. Alrighty, so here's where the centering rings come in. And trust me, if you're using aftermarket wheels, you're gonna want these because it's gonna reduce vibrations if they're perfectly centered. Also reduces the forces that are on the lug nuts and reduces the chance that they're gonna break. So that's a good thing, we want that. You'll see here too, that the inner diameter of that fits perfectly on there. This is significantly heavier than the stock wheel and tire. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Use the foot as leverage. Leverage, baby. God. Good day. There it is. Oh, gotta make sure we're... there it is. All the way up on that centering ring. All the way up on it. So, I don't know. This gap right here, it's not terrible. I think it could be better, but I don't know, really not too bad. Let me know what you guys think. This is where we be extra careful with our ugga-duggas. So we're not too far along here, and I think I already see where we're gonna have the first problem. And that is, this is lifted up right now, so I think at the very least that's coming off. This is probably gonna be a little too close. That's close. All right, so yeah, that's rubbing. It's kind of gonna be rubbing on that too. All right, so I trimmed this just a little bit because that was for sure getting hung on that, but this is just too close for comfort right here. I'm pretty sure if I'm slightly turning and there's any compression in the suspension that is going to rub and possibly damage the bumper, possibly damage the tire. So I think I'm just gonna be extra careful for right now and not do anything that's gonna make the suspension articulate too much while I'm turning. But I think I am gonna go to Lowe's or Home Depot or something and get some washers so that I can space the front bumper out just a little bit. So I've heard of people doing this before and it looks simple enough. It looks like I just need to remove these bolts here and then same down here on the other side, and should be able to get the bumper cover off, and then I'm just gonna put a couple washers right there just to space the bumper, maybe just like a ½ inch that way in order to get these to clear, and I think that should probably work. Right, so things ended up escalating rather quickly. I said I was gonna hold off on taking the bumper off, but then I kind of started experimenting with how hard it would be and how stuck the bolts were, and it turns out not very on either of those things. So yeah. I don't know, I kind of like it. It turns out it's actually really easy to get the front bumper off of these. I initially thought it was all of these bolts, but it's actually just the top smaller ones that are these. Honestly kind of surprised that something that small, there's only 4 of these, and that's what holds the whole like front bumper cover on. It all came out really easy, and I actually just ran to Home Depot to get a little extra hardware. I got basically these but longer. I got some longer bolts, I got some nuts and washers. What I'm gonna do is put a nut and maybe a washer or 2 right there, just to kind of space this out a little bit so that it holds the bumper a little bit further away, just to give me that extra like ½ inch of clearance so I'm not scraping the tire. So I also just realized that I'm not that smart, and the nuts, I was gonna use this basically as a big washer. I just ran in, not really thinking, and grabbed some stuff real quick. But this isn't gonna work on there because it's just going to get tight on there, and I won't be able to actually tighten this down. So I think I'm gonna use about 5 washers on each one, and that's gonna give me maybe a little over ½ an inch. Sometimes just an extra ½ inch is all you need. This should be funny to watch. There's an art, it's an art form, there's a technique, probably. This is so stupid. I saw I got that on the first try, right? But it doesn't seem like there's no more space than there used to be. All right, so here we are with the bumper off again, and yeah, I had to make some adjustments because I didn't feel like it was leaning out far enough. So I've taken a couple washers off of the top, and I found 2 more that would work because I needed just a little bit more. So I've got 7 small ones and 2 larger ones on there, and that's gonna make the bumper lean just slightly like that. Hopefully that's gonna help a little bit, so we'll see if we can do this again. It's a nice night though. Well, we've got it on hopefully for the last time. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. Some light on it here? Hell yeah. What I figured out is that these 2 bigger bolts move side to side, so you can actually kind of, and also up and down, so you can actually kind of adjust how the bumper sits. And then these smaller ones are the ones that I just replaced. Kind of hard to see. There's only a little bit of spacer right there. Down here, there's where I've got all my spacer, just to kind of make it lean out a little bit. So there is still not a whole lot of room. Before I wasn't able to get fingers through there, and now I can. So hopefully that's good. I tried jumping up and down on the bumper right here just a little bit to see if I can make it touch. It didn't touch, although it is very close, but I'll just have to monitor it for a little bit and just make sure that it's not actually rubbing up against there, but I think we should be good now. The only reason I'm ugga-dugging so much is because this won't really do over like 85 foot-pounds. Boy, it is getting dark. I'm about to start telling some ghost stories. But I do have some good news. First of all, this rear tire was a pain to lift up on there. I need to hit the gym more. But good news. Over here we can actually run the center caps because those hubs don't stick out as far as I thought they did. The factory wheels have kind of a weird center cap that sticks out really far, but the hub doesn't actually stick out that far. So we'll be good back here at least. This is also a good time for me to show you this. You can see that black ring in there. That is the Hub-centric centering ring. That's gonna make it so when we tighten all these lug nuts down, it's not gonna be slightly off center and cause some bad juju. And you know, earlier I said it probably doesn't matter if you get cheap centering rings, and still kind of think that, but I've had nicer ones before that fit over there a little bit better so that they didn't fall off while you're trying to put the wheel on. So maybe to save yourself a little hassle, don't get super cheap ones. Every fitment's gonna end up being slightly different. Nice. It's cold, it's dark. That's probably all I'm gonna film for today. I got the tires back on. I'll probably do a quick test drive, but we'll finish up in the morning and beauty shots. All right guys, this is the next day. We maybe sort of kind of ran out of light last night, and that's kind of what happens when you try to fit tires that are maybe a little bit one size too big, but ended up making it work. Was able to space the bumper out far enough, trimmed that bottom valence just a tiny bit to keep it from catching, and now it is still rubbing just a little tiny bit on the I think it's called the fitment arm. It is still rubbing just a tiny bit at full lock, but not on the bumper. It's on one of the, I should look up what that's called. It's not too bad. I might end up at some point putting little tiny wheel spacers in there to see if I can get that to go away, but overall it's not really that bad, and it looks fantastic. So let's go check it out.